This is the straw that broke the camel's back. For small and medium-sized businesses in particular, they are under attack in this country right now. The regulatory environment, the tax uncertainty. Look, I talk to these businesses every day, and they're saying, you know what? I'm not in the mood to hire. It's not just because of the healthcare law. It's because the healthcare law, in addition to everything else, they're already dealing with. Now, certainly we can't blame the healthcare law for all of the malaise on Main Street, but it's not helping matters. It's not going to encourage anyone to go out and hire. And it's also going to hurt wages. Simply stated, this hurts the middle class. It is regressive. It's the worst of all kinds of taxes. And if we had a better business environment, a more favorable business environment, we could handle this potentially. Right. We might not like it, but we could handle it. I agree that this is that sort of teachable moment that we all talk about. And in financial literacy, we want to be able to sit down at the dinner table and say, look, this is what happens when you spend more than you have. This is what happens when you're broke. This is what happens. And it's also a good lesson, not just for municipal finance, but at the federal level. The federal government can learn a thing or two. If you let things get out of control and you have $16 trillion in debt, you're going to wind up like Stockton. And finally, I would say, look, Stockton is like a mini version of Mediterranean Europe. I mean, you certainly don't have the sites, you don't have the food, and you don't have the beaches, but you do have the debt problems. And this is exactly what can happen. And that's the example. We all need to learn from this and reflect it in our own lives.
It's the legal ruling no one is talking about, but should be. A court of appeals just giving the EPA more power to regulate carbon emissions on businesses without congressional approval. And Larry, you say this is going to have all of us paying?
That's right. This is going to get passed through. And the real issue here is the role of government, the role of bigger government, and the role of government regulating. You know, the government has a tendency to regulate first, ask questions later. That's just wrong. And we need to do something about it, or we're all going to pay the price.